One kick. One singular moment of violence that didn't just change a match, it shattered the entire hierarchy of Monday Night Raw. You think you know the game? You think you know who holds the cards? Think again. Because what we witnessed in the dying moments of the main event wasn't just a wrestling match, it was a conspiracy unraveling in real time. A ghost from the past didn't just walk through the door, he kicked it down, left the chosen one of the new era unconscious on the canvas, and handed the keys to the kingdom to a man who was inches away from losing everything. If your heart isn't racing, check your pulse, because we just witnessed a crime scene, a resurrection, and a revolution all in the span of 3 seconds. Welcome to the Slam Zone. Tonight, we aren't just talking about moves and holds. We are talking about survival. We are talking about the night the megastar LA Knight looked destiny in the eye, blinked, and found salvation in the shadow of a mask. February 9, 2026, will go down in history, not for who won, but for who made sure the wrong man lost. The road to WrestleMania just took a turn into the darkness, and I promise you, by the end of this breakdown, you're going to question everything you thought you knew about the Vision, about Austin Theory, and about the man hiding behind that black hood. Let's take you back to the Rocket Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. The atmosphere wasn't just electric, it was volatile. You could feel the humidity of 20,000 screaming fans pressing against your skin. The air was thick with that specific kind of tension that only happens when the stakes are life-altering. This wasn't a standard exhibition. This was a triple threat qualifier for the Elimination Chamber. We all know what that means. You get into the chamber, you survive the steel and the glass, and you get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 42. For a guy like LA Knight, at this stage in his career, this isn't just an opportunity, it is the only thing that matters. When Knight's music hit, the noise was deafening. It wasn't just a pop, it was a roar of validation. He walked down that ramp with the swagger of a man who knows he's the people's champion, but look closely at his eyes. There was a desperate focus there. He knows the deck is stacked. He knows the political machine of WWE doesn't want him in that main event spot. And standing across from him, the wild card, Penta El Zero Miedo, a man who has zero fear and zero regard for his own body. Penta stood there in his skeletal gear, looking like the Grim Reaper of the cruiserweight division, ready to snap arms and break spirits. But the real story, the variable that made every smart fan in that building nervous, was Austin Theory. Or should I say, the Vision. Flanked by the social media mogul Logan Paul and the human wrecking ball Bronson Reed, Theory looked less like a wrestler and more like a mafia don protected by his hitman. The arrogance radiating off him was nauseating. He didn't look like he was preparing for a fight, he looked like he was preparing for a coronation. He believed the spot was already his. He believed the fix was in. The bell rings, and immediately, the psychology of the match shifts. You can see Theory trying to play the puppet master, whispering to Penta, trying to get the lookator to team up against Knight. But Cleveland knows better. Knight knows better. And Penta? Penta answers with a chop so loud it sounded like a gunshot went off in the arena. That slap of flesh on flesh ignited the powder keg. The first 5 minutes were an absolute blur of high-velocity violence. Penta was moving like water, flowing from one move to the next. He hits a sling blade on Knight, spins, and catches Theory with a backstabber that nearly folds him in half. The crowd is on their feet, screaming for every move. But notice the positioning. Every time Knight tries to get some offense in, every time he winds up for that signature Logan Paul is on the apron. A distraction here, a grab of the boot there. It's subtle, it's annoying, and it's effective. Then, the match spills to the outside, and this is where things turn from a competition into a mugging. Knight throws Theory over the barricade, a burst of adrenaline fueling him, but as he turns around to celebrate with the fans, reality comes crashing down. Bronson Reed, 330 pounds of Australian force, comes sprinting around the ring post. He hits LA Knight with a body block that looked like a sedan hitting a brick wall. You could hear the air leave Knight's body through the television screen. It was sickening. The referee is distracted by Logan Paul claiming Penta pulled his hair. It's a classic, dirty tactic, and it worked to perfection. Reed drags the lifeless body of LA Knight back into the ring and rolls him into the corner. The big man climbs the turnbuckles. The crowd is screaming, trying to warn the referee, but it's too late. Reed launches himself into the air. The tsunami. All that weight, gravity doing its cruel work, crashing down onto the ribs of LA Knight. Knight didn't just go flat, he looked like he was embedded into the canvas. That's it. Match over. There is no human way to survive that. Theory slides in for the cover, a smug grin plastered on his face. 1, 2, but wait. The music hits. It's Adam Pearce. The general manager comes storming down the ramp like a man possessed. He has seen enough. For weeks, the Vision has held Raw hostage, and tonight, Pearce snapped. He's screaming, veins bulging in his neck, pointing to the back. He's not just admonishing them, he's ejecting them. He orders security to remove Logan Paul and Bronson Reed from the arena immediately. The Rocket Arena erupts. The sound of 20,000 people singing "Na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye" shakes the camera lenses. Theory is furious. He releases the pinfall to scream at Pierce. He's distracted. He's throwing a tantrum in the middle of the ring, watching his insurance policy get dragged up the ramp. This was the turning point. The playing field was finally level. But the damage was done. Look at LA Knight. While Theory is arguing, Knight isn't moving. He's clutching his ribs. He's gasping for air, his face twisted in agony. The tsunami broke something, you can tell. He's not fighting to win anymore, he's fighting to breathe. Theory turns back around, realizing he's alone, and his eyes lock onto Penta. For the next several minutes, we saw a side of Austin Theory that is truly terrifying. Without his goons, he became vicious. He realized he had to do the dirty work himself. He takes Penta and hurls him into the steel steps. The metallic clang echoed through the arena. He grabs Penta by the mask, the ultimate sign of disrespect, and grinds his face into the barricade. This isn't wrestling, this is a beatdown. He rolls Penta back in and applies a single-leg Boston Crab, sitting deep, torquing the knee. Penta is screaming, reaching for the ropes, his gloves scratching at the canvas. The fans are willing him on, chanting "Ciro Mito." Ciro Mito, twisting their fingers in the air. Penta, running on pure adrenaline and pride, manages to flip over and kick Theory in the face, breaking the hold. Both men are down, and slowly, painfully, we see movement in the corner. LA Knight is pulling himself up. He looks like a survivor of a car wreck. His skin is pale, sweat pouring down his face, holding his side. But he's standing. The crowd sees it. A low rumble starts in the front row and spreads like wildfire to the nosebleeds. Yeah. Knight stumbles to the center. Theory rushes him. Knight ducks. Clothesline. Theory is back up another clothesline. Knight is fighting through the pain, the adrenaline finally kicking in. He whips Theory into the ropes, jumps big power slam. He drops to the mat, wincing in pain, but he crawls over. He stands up, points to the crowd. He runs the ropes, leaps the elbow drop. He hooks the leg. 1, 2, no. Theory gets a shoulder up at the very last millisecond. 2.9. The crowd groaned in unison, a sound of pure heartbreak. Knight stares at the referee, eyes wide. He thought he had it. He thought the dream was alive. We are deep into this match now, folks. This is the water where champions are made, or where they drown. The energy is frantic. Bodies are flying everywhere. Penta is back in the mix, hitting a Canadian destroyer on Knight that nearly spiked him through the mat. Theory hits A-Town down on Penta, but Knight breaks up the pin with a desperate dive. It is absolute chaos. No one can catch their breath. The pacing is relentless, back and forth, near fall after near fall. Before we get to the ending that shook the world, I have to take a second to ask you something. Are you feeling this? Are you on the edge of your seat right now? If you love this kind of storytelling, if you live for the passion and the drama of professional wrestling, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now. It helps us so much. And if you want to be part of a family that breaks down the business with heart and emotion every single week, subscribe to SLAMZONE. Turn on that notification bell. We don't just watch this, we live it. Join us. Back to the ring. We are 18 minutes in. All three men are exhausted. Theory rolls to the outside, looking to catch his breath. He's leaning against the announce table, eyes darting around, paranoid. He's looking for his backup, but they're gone. He's on his own. Inside the ring, Penta and Knight are trading heavy shots. Chop, punch, chop, punch. The crowd is doing the boo, yay routine. Knight manages to toss Penta over the top rope, sending the lookater crashing to the floor on the opposite side. Knight is the only man standing. He's swaying, holding his ribs, but he's the last man up. He sees Theory on the outside. Knight goes out after him. He grabs Theory, looking to slam his head into the table. But Theory rakes the eyes. The referee doesn't see it. Knight is blinded. Theory shoves Knight hard, sending him crashing spine-first into the ring post. Knight crumbles to the floor. Theory is smiling now. That sick, twisted, arrogant smile. He knows he has one. He looks at Knight, down and out. He looks at Penta, who is barely moving on the other side of the ring. Theory rolls back into the ring, soaking in the heat from the crowd. He demands the referee start counting Knight out. 1, 2, 3. Knight is stirring, but he can barely stand. Theory is laughing. He's taunting the crowd. He turns his back to the ramp, looking at the hard cam, screaming, "I am the future. I am the vision." And then, the energy shifts. The camera cuts to the crowd near the timekeeper's area. A ripple of confusion moves through the front row. People are standing up, pointing. Security is scrambling, but they are too slow. A figure leaps the barricade, dressed entirely in black. Black hoodie pulled low, black combat pants, a black mask completely covering his face. He moves like a phantom, silent and fluid. He slides under the bottom rope behind Austin Theory. Theory is still screaming at the camera. He has no idea. The crowd is screaming, trying to warn him, but the noise is just a wall of sound. Theory turns around. Wham! A super kick. Sweet chin music style. Right on the button. The sound of the boot connecting with Theory's jaw cracked through the arena audio. Theory's head snapped back, sweat flying into the third row, and he collapsed like a puppet with its strings cut. He is out cold. Eyes rolled back. Lights out. The crowd gasps a collective intake of breath that sucked the oxygen out of the room. The referee was checking on Penta on the outside. The ref didn't see a thing. The masked man stands over the fallen body of Austin Theory. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't taunt. He just stares down at him. The body language is cold, calculated. There is history there. You can feel the hatred radiating off this stranger. LA Knight drags himself onto the apron. He pulls himself through the ropes. He sees Theory down. He sees the masked man standing there. Knight freezes. He puts his fists up, ready to fight. The masked man slowly turns his head toward LA Knight. The two men lock eyes. Time seems to stand still. Is he going to attack Knight too? Is this an invasion? The masked man simply nods. One sharp, deliberate nod. He spins around and vaults over the top rope, disappearing into the crowd before security can even get close. He vanished as quickly as he arrived, like smoke in the wind. Knight is confused. He looks at the crowd, then down at Theory. He realizes what just happened. He realizes the gift he's been given. He doesn't hesitate. He's a veteran. He knows you take the win however you can get it. Knight grabs the limp body of Austin Theory. He hauls him up. He hooks the head. Theory is dead weight. B.F.T. Blunt force trauma. He drives Theory's face into the mat with everything he has left. Knight hooks the leg. The referee slides back in. 1. The crowd counts with a desperation I have never heard before. 2. 3. The bell rings. Here is your winner, and qualifying for the Elimination Chamber. L.A. Knight. The Rocket Arena explodes. It's pandemonium. Knight rolls off Theory, clutching his ribs, lying on his back, staring up at the lights. He did it. He survived the tsunami. He survived the interference. He survived the war. Music blasts. Knight slowly gets to his feet, raising a shaky hand. He points to the WrestleMania sign hanging in the rafters, but his eyes drift to the dark corner of the arena where the masked man disappeared. The camera cuts to the entrance ramp. Logan Paul and Bronson Reed are sprinting back out, faces red with rage. They slide into the ring, but it's too late. The match is over. The bell has rung. Theory is just waking up, holding his jaw, looking around in confusion. He asks what happened. Logan Paul is screaming, miming a kick, pointing at the crowd. Theory's face drops. The realization hits him. He wasn't beaten by Knight. He was hunted. And as the show goes off the air, we get one final shot. High up in the rafters, in the shadows of the upper deck, the silhouette of the masked man watching, waiting. He turns his back and walks away into the darkness. Fade to black. I am still shaking. My hands are literally shaking as I record this. What we just saw was masterful. Let's break this down because the implications are massive. LA Knight is going to the Elimination Chamber. That is the headline. Against all odds, the megastar has a 1 in 6 chance to main event WrestleMania. His resilience, his ability to absorb punishment and keep moving forward, is the stuff of legends. Tonight, he proved he belongs at the top of the card. But the real story, the mystery that is going to consume the internet for the next week, is the identity of the masked man. Why Austin Theory? This attack was precise. It was targeted. It wasn't random violence, it was a receipt. The masked man bypassed Knight. He bypassed Penta. He went straight for the head of the Vision. Is it a former friend? Think about Theory's past. Think about the people he has stabbed in the back on his way to the top. The list is long. Is it someone from NXT? Is it a returning legend who feels disrespected by Theory's arrogance? And let's talk about that nod. That acknowledgement of LA Knight. Was that respect? Or was that simply saying, I'm not done with him, but you can have this one? It felt like an alliance, but in this business, alliances are as fragile as glass. The way he moved that super kick was crisp. It was professional. This isn't a fan jumping the rail. This is a trained killer. The speed, the stealth, the impact. Whoever is under that hood is a top-tier athlete, and they are on a mission to dismantle the Vision piece by piece. Theory has spent months building a fortress around himself with Logan Paul and Bronson Reed. He thought he was untouchable. Tonight, he learned that walls don't matter when the enemy is already inside the gates. Tonight, fear was put back into the heart of Austin Theory. This is why we watch, family. This is the drama, the mystery, the sheer unpredictability that makes pro wrestling the greatest form of entertainment on the planet. We are left with more questions than answers, and that is exactly where we want to be. I want to hear your voice. I need your theories. Who is under the mask? Go down to the comments section right now. Is it a return? A debut? Give me a name. Let's solve this puzzle together. Tell me who you think just cost Austin Theory his WrestleMania dream. And please, if you felt the emotion of this video, if you're as hyped as I am, smash that like button. It supports the channel more than you know. Share this with your friends who missed Raw and tell them they need to see this. And finally, subscribe to SLAMZONE and join the family. We are going to be tracking this story every single day leading up to the Chamber. You do not want to miss our next update. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows, because the game has changed. This is SLAMZONE. Yeah.